So thanks everybody for attending our CEBA 3.0 Are You Ready live roundtable. First of all, I want to thank you for attending, and also just let you know we have centrals and credit unions from across Canada, and several large banks are also on the call. CEBA has played an important role in assisting Canadians through the pandemic, and I want to thank you all for playing such an important role for supporting all Canadians through this time. Today we're here to discuss the future of CEBA 3.0 and discuss if you're ready. We have an established team on the call who have found a way to automate CEBA 2.0 and are prepared for CEBA 3.0. They want to share their knowledge and assist you in moving forward. So let me introduce to you our panelists. First off, Ryan Graham, who's the SVP, Chief Banking Officer at Concentra Bank. Since 2003, Ryan has honed his professional experience with Concentra, progressing through increasingly challenging management and leadership roles. In April 2017, he was appointed to the executive leadership team to lead the retail and commercial banking divisions, assuming responsibility for residential, commercial, leasing, consumer, and credit union consulting and strategic relationship management. Now, Alan from our Cinchi team also tells me that outside of work, you may also see Ryan as a leading actor in action movies, such as Cyrus or Shadow Hunter. And if you don't believe us, feel free to search him on IMDb. There is a Ryan Graham there who, weirdly enough, kind of looks like Ryan. So our next panelist is Ryan Zarubin. He is the Director of Commercial Operations at Concentra Bank. Kevin has a 15-year banking profession, Kevin has a 15-year, wow, it's hard for me to say today. Kevin is a 15-year banking professional in the sales and operations space. He's responsible for all activities in the commercial space for Concentra Bank. Kevin loves playing golf and apparently spends a lot of time looking for his golf balls and replacing them. Jeff Hayward is the Chief Operating Officer at Weyburn Credit Union. He's been there since 2007. He has 23 years experience in different positions within the credit union space in Saskatchewan. Weyburn Credit Union is located in southeast Saskatchewan and is comprised of $735 million worth of assets and serves about 9 million members. Jeff used to hear that he was old enough to know better, but that's been replaced with too old to remember. He brings years of leadership to the table here. So we're just going to launch our first poll question out to the team. So I will just allow everybody to see it, and I'm going to launch the poll. So for all of you that are attending the webinar, feel free to provide your responses here. The question is, how difficult was it to implement CEBA 2.0? How difficult was it to implement CEBA 2.0? How difficult has that been for you and your organization? It was easy, we had systems in place. Moderate, we're using some systems, Excel and manual steps. Or difficult, we're doing everything manually, and during setup, it was intense. So I'm just gonna leave that up for another minute. And to let you know the responses so far, it looks like 58% of you thought it was moderate, 25% of you felt it was a difficult experience, and there were 15% of you that felt it was fairly easy. So thank you very much for participating in the poll. We've got a couple more of these coming along, so feel free to join along as we go through. Our next overview is, I'm just gonna have Ryan give us an overview on his views on CEBA and also where he's standing as well with the current versions of CEBA as it comes to fruition.
Thanks, Joanne. So welcome everyone. Happy to be here today. So we're going through a really exciting and interesting time in the financial services industry, in particular with the opportunities to deliver these really important, much needed programs to our small business members across the country. So we're very honored that we've had an opportunity to support our credit union partners through this process, and it has been an extensive process and a big piece of work, working with centrals across the country, working with CCUA in order to ensure that all credit unions had access to the program, whether directly or indirectly through Concentra or through their own centrals. So a great, tremendous amount of work, and to make sure that really that these loan programs are able to get out to individuals and businesses that really needed it most. So first and foremost, kind of the overarching guideline. Obviously, for all those that are on the call are well aware of the evolution of the program. We've seen much evolution. I think we'll get into 3.0 and other things as well. But I think the thing that's unknown is what other future evolutions may be involved with CEBA programs as we kind of go through this wave and the unknowns that will come before us as we move forward. The other thing I also want to just point out is the thing that I've really appreciated through this process is the collaborative nature within our ecosystem, whether it's our credit union partners, whether it's centrals, or whether it's EDC or other partners. I thought it was a great job and great work by all teams coming together. In spite of all of that, certainly there were some challenges that were faced, but by and large, I think at Concentra, I'm very proud of the team and the work that was done to deliver what I think is a great solution, and a solution I think that is industrial strength and is going to be built for 3.0 and whatever other iterations of the program that comes through. So with that, that's kind of an overview from my perspective.
Thanks very much, Ryan. Kevin, did you want to give us your view? You've been involved right in the trenches and making sure that the day-to-day parts of CEBA work, so we'd love to hear from you.
CEBA, thank you, Joanne. The CEBA work is one of those projects that was an honor to be a part of and to work with, the different partners, as Ryan mentioned, the centrals, the EDCs, the individual credit unions, and to be able to whitelist a solution for a credit union member, to be able to log on and fill in the application, attest to the application. The credit union then can go within the solution and do their attestation and verifications and approve the loan, which then starts our process for being able to take that data and consolidate it and be ready to send our daily 1A data feeds and our daily 1B data feeds, be able to track that when they were sent, when the money was received, when it was dispersed to the credit union, and then when it was dispersed to the member. Gives us a clear line of sight to each one of the 35 credit unions that we're supporting throughout the province. It gives us a clear line of sight if there's ever a glitch or an issue for a member, a wrong data field was entered, incorrect information was put in and the member wants to correct that. The credit unions can be in contact with me and I can see the same data in real time that they're seeing, troubleshoot and be able to help that member resubmit the application to get the funding that is required. It was something that we worked on, and it's seamless for the credit unions, and it allows us to meet all of the EDC program requirements for daily and weekly and monthly reporting feeds, and we do that all through the solution that's been created.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Appreciate the insights. And Jeff, do you want to give us a view from the credit union and membership perspective on what that was like in terms of the onboarding as well?
Yes, for sure, Joanne. Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. I guess when the pandemic first hit, it created a whole bunch of stuff all over the world. But then when the federal government announced that they were going to step in and get programs for our small business members and such, it created even more of an urgency. And as Joanne mentioned, we're not the smallest credit union in Saskatchewan, but we're definitely not the largest. And we're going through a digital transformation of technology. We have a small technology department, but it was even more imperative if we were going to roll this program out quickly, it would have to be done via technology because of the pandemic. And so when the solution came out from SAS Central, we were asked to pilot it. And as Joanne said, I'm old, and piloting is not something I didn't sign up for. I've had past experiences on it. It's not the funnest thing I've been through. But I can safely say we were asked to pilot this. As Kevin and Ryan and Alan have said, it was a great partnership on April 22nd from our central. They coordinated it. Concentra had the tools, had the national reach to do it in partnership with Cinchi, who applied the platform for it. April 23rd, we were contacted by Cinchi. This is one day after the pilot began with us, with great detail of what was to happen. Concentra, Kevin and Ryan contacted us with all the legality of it, and that side of it went smoothly on April 24th. But April 28th, we were live on this platform. In the interim, we had been contacting our members because we didn't have a seat with EDC, we wouldn't have been possible. But other people in our town were getting their stuff through the bank. So it was imperative from a competitive point of view that we offer this program. By April 28th, we were live. And on April 29th, our first app was processed going through it. And then I look back at my emails, I keep everything. May 4th, we received our first funds received from the government. So piloting this project was a great pleasure, and I wish that all of them ran this smoothly. But I have nothing but faith going forward that we can handle this. And as part of our digital transformation, it's very important we continue to do this. Like Kevin said, it's a very clean, modern look. It was simple for our members. Very little technology, marketing, and even support required ongoing for us. I think I have half a support person maybe looking at it now. And then I guess to date, I just looked, we processed 97 apps for just about $4 million. So that's gone back into our community. So great experience, and that's where I would leave it at.
Okay, thanks very much. Lots of different perspectives on managing the whole solution from both Concentra's perspective and also the credit union's perspective, but also importantly is the member experience as well, which seems to have been a very helpful, fast situation and outcome for them. So I'm going to launch our next poll right now. Let me just launch that. And the question is, with CEBA 3.0 about to release, how challenging do you and your organization think it will be to implement and meet the ongoing requirements? Just pick one. It will be easy. We've automated the process and can adapt to the ongoing changes. Number two, based on what I've read, it will be challenging and will likely require more people as time goes on. Number three, we can manage this change, but the evolving requirements are making us evaluate how to manage for the future. So I'll just give a little bit more time for a few more people to respond. All right, so I'm just going to give you the responses right now. Just share the results with you so you can see them. It's 27% of you said it will be easy. You've automated the process and can adapt to the ongoing changes. 20% of you have said, based on what I've read, it will be challenging and will require more people as time goes on. And 53% of you have said you can manage this change, but the involvement requirements are making you evaluate how you want to manage for the future. So I appreciate that it is an evolving situation, and as each company and bank and credit union looks at CEBA 3.0, there's so many questions that you have, and you're trying to figure out how you would manage it going forward. So we've got lots of questions that I wanted to ask the group here. So I'm going to start off with the first one. Over to you, Ryan. How does the solution scale across many credit unions, whether they're large or small? How do you see this solution working for them? For some reason, you're on mute.
I am on mute. What I said was really brilliant, so I'll try to repeat it. So, you know, I think the scalability of the program, whether small or large, is really founded in a couple things. I think having the great technology platform as delivered by Cinchi and the understanding of the program, and having something simple and able to operate. But I think the other piece that's made it really successful from our side is really the great work that Kevin and his team have done on the operations side, and being a really strong conduit to and partner with the technology. So I think it's really the marriage of, you know, the strong operational practices, capabilities, as well as being complemented by you know, a really strong technology solution that has allowed us to scale it across many credit unions and deliver great value to them and their members.
And did you find that there was a big difference between if you were a large credit union or a small credit union in terms of the steps they had to take?
Yeah, well, not in terms of the steps, but I would certainly say and Alan certainly would have an opinion on this, but I think there's certain varying degrees of sophistication and capabilities from a technology side, and I would say by and large, whether big or small, you know, I don't think it posed any insurmountable challenges through the process. So, which is really a testament to, again, to the strong ops and technology approach taken.
Okay, great, thank you. So our next question is over to you, Kevin. And that question is, how does data move between the organizations and the EDC? And how would that change with CEBA 3.0? Who works on the data in the back end, and who has control of the data? So just sort of take somebody through that journey and what it looks like currently and what CEBA 3.0 will change.
Thanks, Joanne. So in the current way that it works is the member applies online through a whitelisted URL that's branded for this specific credit union, fills in the application, the credit union attests and approves that application, and with CEBA 3.0, there's going to be a few more steps of validation that's required from the credit union, but not a lot more, but a few more, and there's a little bit more information that's required from the member, but again, not a lot more. They'll fill in that information, the loan will be sent for attestation, the credit union will attest to it, and then it starts our process much the same. We'll see everything that the credit union has passed through, all the credit unions have passed through, and we'll create what's called the data feed W, and send that off to EDC, and that's all done. We download it from Cinchi, we put it in the proper format, and we export those into the EDC secure portal. That won't change from the 1A that we currently do. This will just be the W. Once the government does their checks and balances, they are going to send back a data feed F and Z, and the data feed Z is going to say which loans have been successful, which loans have been rejected, and the reason codes for the rejection. We are going to ingest that information into Cinchi, and it will be able to cross-reference based on the tax ID number, and we'll be able to ingest that into the system. Each credit union in real time will be able to see what status each one of their members' applications are in on, and if the loan is approved by EDC on the data feed W that corresponds with the same day, sorry, the data feed F on the same day, will have a funding date where they've requested funding. So T+3 business days from now, the funding will be received by Concentral, we'll be able to, again, reconcile based on the W and the Zs that have come in, reconcile with the Fs, and submit and process and disperse the money to the credit unions for their members. The whole while, they'll be able to see the process as it goes through. The dates will be entered into the system, and each credit union will know who to anticipate funding for on a certain day.
Sounds like a lot of steps.
It is. It's more, it's a bigger bubble than what CEBA 2.0 was, but based on the technology solution from Cinchi, we're confident that 3.0 is going to be just as seamless.
Excellent, excellent. So the next question is for you again, Kevin, and we also have Alan on the phone. Alan is part of our team here at Cinchi, so he'll also compliment after Kevin has responded. What are the workflows like? And can we modify them to work within our organization? So recognizing that some organizations might have slightly different systems that have been set up, what sort of things would you suggest that you might want to anticipate up front, and then how could you adapt them?
In 3.0, there's going to be more cross-tying and reconciliation that's required. 2.0 was relatively easy. The 1A data feed went in, T plus 2 days, the funds were received and then be dispersed. With the added steps of the data feed Z and data feed F, there's going to be more cross-tying and reconciliation that's needed. So when funds do arrive at your institution, you will have a clear line of sight as to which members had qualified for the loan or which had been rejected. That is going to be the biggest difference in 3.0 versus 2.0. The approval process, and it's a policy change from the government, where in essence, the government is now underwriting each application. Where in the 2.0 world, if it met limited criteria, the funds were released.
Alan, did you want to add anything to that?
Not much, but just you know, the part of the reason why we're even called Cinchi is what we do is we make data a cinch, and that's really our entire mantra. Is that we're really trying to simplify and automate a lot of the experience so that it's not operationally intensive on some of the work that's happening with CEBA. So our objective is really to make sure that the entire experience is seamless, even as you transition from 2.0 to 3.0.
Thanks very much. I'm going to launch another poll. You've all done such a great job of responding. So let me just launch another one. Sorry. Okay, so the question is, how many people hours or equivalent FTE do you believe it will take to manage the ongoing CEBA 3.0 reporting, auditing, and governance requirements through December 31st, 2022? Do you believe that there's no additional FTE, but you'd like to redeploy your current team on other projects? Do you think it'll be 1 extra FTE, 2 extra FTE, 3 extra FTE, or 4+? So I'll just give this another second or two so that all of you have a chance to respond. Okay, so, all right, so the response, I'll just share the results. 60% of you felt that there was no additional people that was going to be needed, but you'd like your current team to be redeployed to other projects. 7% felt it would be 1%. 27% felt that it would be, 7% felt it would be 1 extra FTE. 27% felt that it would be 2 FTE. And then 7% felt that it would be 4+. So you can see it's a fairly intensive workload in terms of people getting involved. So I'm just going to move to our next question. Let me just get that in front of me. So what does onboarding look like for credit unions, and how long does it take? So I'm going to defer over to Alan and Ravi, who are part of the Cinchi team. And then Jeff, if you want to also add anything there, that would be great.
Yeah, so like I said, back to what I mentioned earlier, it's really about seamlessness, the seamless experience. We know today that a lot of you are already doing some sort of EDC reporting and generating a CSV file that basically gets passed to them. It would be the same. We'd be able to ingest it and bring it onto our platform. And then, even Jeff can attest to it. It's really about getting trained, onboarding you onto the platform. And I could say, when we originally had started the onboarding of the 35 credit unions, I think it was over 2 days, we basically onboarded all the credit unions. So, if there's appetite for some of the folks that don't want this manual experience and want to automate a lot of the work, it's not very much effort. It'll be a low effort from the migration over onto the Cinchi platform. Ravi, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, so just in terms of the actual onboarding, when we did this originally with Concentra as well as the 35 credit union partners, there were 2 one-hour webinars that basically went over the entire process end to end for the credit union. And there was also an onboarding documentation package that was sent to everybody. And through those those methodologies, the credit unions were basically able to administer the entire program throughout the life cycle up until now. And then in addition to that, there is a CEBA helpline that is co-managed between Concentra and Cinchi. So any questions regarding obviously the platform and the technology, but also funding, process, questions regarding the program changes, etc. There's always that line that can be emailed or called to get information. And again, in line with the rest of the program, it was created and spun up very quickly, and it will be offered and adapted for 3.0 and any future changes.
Great.
And I'll even add that today we are talking to another central and some of the other credit unions that are looking really to transition this type of work off, just because of how manual it is.
So let me ask our next question over to Jeff, which is, what is the member experience like, and how does it differ from a manual solution? And just before you answer, Jeff, just to let the audience know as well, there is a Q&A. You feel free to put your questions in there, and we'll also make sure that we respond to those as well. So Jeff, over to you.
Yeah, like I kind of alluded to, we're going through a digital transformation. So we did a rebrand on our website, but it fits in really well there. And I went and checked it out again myself today. It's got our branding on it. It's clean, it's concise, it's quick, it's modern. It's what our members would look for in other websites or applying online, which lots of people do now. So it fits in nicely with that. And like, as I mentioned, that being the pilot, we go through the whole process with Cinchi and Concentra. We were basically up and running in 2 weeks. And with some changes to 3.0, yeah, there might be some contracts that have to get re-signed and maybe some other stuff we have to attest to, but I don't anticipate it really changing that much. It'll be the same great member experience. Again, they don't have to come into the branch, so it helps. It's key during this pandemic. It automates it, digitizes it. So yeah, it's good.
Excellent. And you may have covered off this next question a little bit in your previous answers, but I thought I'd ask it in a different way. How do you manage the auditing, governance, and reporting process? And how will you manage the ongoing changes from CEBA 2.0 to CEBA 3.0? So that's to Kevin and Jeff.
Anything that is in Cinchi is timestamped, and reports and queries and filters are created for each individual reporting or governance piece that is required. We are able to filter data per approved application, per rejected application, per declined application. We can see funding date requests. We can see funding date received. We can see any changes that happen in real time. There's no nightly process or automated thing that has to run. It's real time as it's entered. And we've been able to respond to EDC inquiries within half an hour if they were questioning a reconciliation for a 1A request versus a Schedule I. We reconciled that, we responded to them, and it was within half an hour. They anticipated it would take a matter of days. So the reporting is really intuitive and helpful for managing the CEBA program.
Jeff, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, just further than that, like we have not added any staff. This is just another, it goes through our support department. They all have access to the Cinchi site, and it's just become a daily process. Even going to 3.0, I don't anticipate it requiring a lot more time. It's just a daily process now that maybe takes us total from start to finish, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. It's slick.
Excellent.
For Concentra, Joanne, just some last comments from me. When CEBA was deployed and we had to start working with the process, of course, there's some hesitation. How are we going to do this? The biggest pain point that we've had is we changed our working hours to starting an hour earlier each day so we could hit the 10 o'clock Eastern cutoff time. And we're nowhere close to that 10 o'clock Eastern cutoff time. But that was the only, I guess, pain point that you could say that we had. And that's not a pain point when you're dealing with a program of this nature.
And are you the person that has to come in the hour earlier?
Yes, myself and some of my team.
Okay. If you're a morning person, it's not too bad, but if you're not, it's more painful. Number 7, our next question is, what if a credit union has multiple banking systems? How does that get managed? So Alan and Ravi, did you want to respond to that?
Ravi, do you want to take that? So I also noticed that Brittany had asked a very similar question. Is there any integration that take place between the CU and systems and Cinchi, especially if there's multiple banking platforms? Does this play a factor in the onboarding?
Yeah, it's a good question. So so out of the box, Cinchi gives you the capability to very easily export any data that you have access to see as a CSV or delimited file of your choice. And obviously that can be formatted and then ingested into your banking system. All data that you can export sort of at the click of a button is also available via API. So everything in Cinchi is API enabled, do no code APIs. You could drag and drop sort of data elements that you wanted in your to shift to your core banking system. It would automatically create an API for you, and you could hit that API via from your system. So integration is possible. In the program right now, obviously there's credit unions of varying sizes. A small number of them have started to use those APIs and to start that integration, and some have not. It's obviously dependent on the credit union, their sophistication, and what their overall strategy is for integration. But the option certainly exists out of the box.
Yeah, I think the important thing is that the platform is flexible so that it can meet the requirements that you're ultimately looking for.
Great. The next question I have, again, is for Ryan or Alan and Ravi. How do you import the existing CEBA loan to ensure they can be managed under the same system? So if you were to suddenly sign up to CEBA 3.0 under the Cinchi program, and you already had a 2.0, how would that work?
I'm actually looking at the Q&A. I think Brittany is basically exactly on the same page as you. She's literally asking question for question. Ravi, do you want to take that first?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, there's a a process by which we simply have to load the application data that you currently have in your system. So to the extent that you can get the data for the applications already submitted out into a CSV, Excel, or some other format, we basically import that. So there's a one-time mapping exercise that would have to happen, and we would load that into Cinchi. It would be secure. Only yourselves would sort of see that data, and once that was done, you would basically have the full functionality of the rest of the system. So the reporting would be driven off of that. The limit utilizations, like those types of things, would all be driven off of that. Similarly for payments, to the extent that there have been repayments made on some of these loans, you would import that in the same way. It'll be a one-time thing, and that's it. In terms of the overall time, I would say it would be measured on the order of a few days. And that would also be to set up the users from the credit union, so they would have access to administer the program. So we're talking a few days of work, and that's probably being fairly conservative.
So our final question, and then we're going to do another poll after that, is to say and this question is for Ryan, Jeff, and Kevin. What are your key learnings from CEBA 2.0 so far, and your thoughts on the process moving forward? In addition, what guidance would you give the credit union and centrals on how to be ready for 3.0?
So I can jump in first. So my view and learnings, I guess, through all of this was how important agility was through this process, and new ways around thinking about how to approach the solution or the problem in order to create the solution. Again, I think having a solid foundation and a great technology platform is important, but also like-minded partners that can work well together, and in times of crisis, really pull through together. So certainly collaboration was very critical from every side. So yeah, it's really been, I think, an honor for our organization to be involved in this program, and excited about what opportunities could lie ahead. Excellent.
Jeff or Kevin, do you want to give some thoughts there?
I would echo Ryan's comments. Collaboration between work groups and companies has worked very, very well, whether that be early morning calls, late evening calls. All stakeholders were available and able to work together to collaboratively give what the credit union system needed in Saskatchewan. So it really was a privilege to be part of.
Okay. Any further comments there, Jeff?
Yeah, all good comments, and I'd agree with both those guys. Yeah, from a member point of view, like I said, it was a crisis, and everybody was in a panic here. So being able to offer something from a government program so quickly to our membership and remain competitive, I guess, with our competitors, which had a direct line to EDC, and through the great partnership with Concentra and Cinchi, us not being a huge technology company, we were able to offer that and digitize it, and I guess preserve that member relationship and continue, to build that through this. So yeah, it was a great experience.
Great. So let me just move to our next question. Sorry, hold on. For some reason, I'm having trouble just getting here. Let me just go to our fourth question here, which is, now that you've heard about the Concentra Bank and Weyburn Credit Union and how they're using the Cinchi Data Fabric to automate CEBA 3.0, how confident are you that you could automate CEBA 3.0 and all its processes and reporting and be ready for CEBA 4.0 as well? Because we all know that's going to come in the future. So number one, are you confident? And we would like to automate the processes reporting and be ready for changes as they evolve during the solution. Number 2, not sure, we would like to automate, but don't know how to start. Or number 3, which is unchanged, we're prepared to keep our current processes as they are. So I'll just give this a few seconds so that everyone has an opportunity to respond. Just a few more people responding. All right, so I'm going to end the polling now. And I'll just share the results so that you can all see them. So 73% of the attendees figure that they are very confident now, and they'd like to automate the processes and reporting and be ready for changes as they evolve during the situation. 9% are still not sure. You'd like to automate, but you're not sure where to start. And then 18% are you're prepared to keep your current processes as they are, which is fair. So thank you very much. So I'll just see if there's any other questions. Alan, if you want to just take a look in the Q&A and see if there's anything there that we haven't addressed.
Yeah, I think I see basically there's only one left, it's pricing and cost.
Okay. Did you want to talk about that in terms of next steps that people could take?
Absolutely. Generally, you know, we're happy to share pricing. If you want to schedule some time with myself and Ravi, we can kind of go through it just so that you have a clear understanding of the model. Excellent. I can tell you that, you know, and I've been saying this for many others, is that the solution is not very expensive. It's actually inexpensive. The objective is really to help with a lot of the automation. Like, you know, CEBA's program in general is not about making, you know, all this money. It's really about, you know, helping a lot of the Canadian businesses and helping your organization to really simplify a lot of the operations that come with it.
Thanks, Alan. There is a question from Jeff. Can you go into a bit more detail about how and if solutions would support the 2A repayment and remittance reporting? So who would like to answer that one? Kevin?
So I can okay. Start. So all the reporting in Cinchi, the reason why it's highly automated is basically leveraging the application data that exists. So the application data itself is stored in Cinchi. All the institution data is stored in Cinchi. It's secure to those who are allowed to see it. And the reports are essentially just configured to run and aggregate off of that data. And they're also configured to format it sort of in the pipe delimited EDC form. But even that is is configurable. So tomorrow EDC changes it to semicolons, like, you know, stuff like that is almost trivial in our solution. But the reason why we can update the reporting so quickly is because we're operating off of a very standardized form for the application data and the payments data. Sorry, I keep saying application, but it's the payments data as well. And we haven't seen it here, but the platform natively links these two together. So when you have an application, everything now, and now we're talking payments. Unfortunately, in the future, we may be talking defaults. We may be talking things in arrears. Everything is linked back to that application, and thus to the member, and also to the credit union or the institution. So because of that link, and because I can now basically use those links to quickly create reports that I need to and see different views, it becomes very easy to configure these new standards that need to be met for reporting.
Kevin, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes. So when a payment is received, we've designed it so it's basically the same process, but it's in reverse. Right now, the data feeds are date funds request, date funds are received, and date funds are dispersed to the credit union. Coming back, payments being made, we have it set up where it's date of member payment, date that the credit union put the funds, sent their funds to Concentra, and the date that consent were remitted to EDC. And so it's the exact same process, just reversed, and then the reporting reflects that on the monthly feeds.
Excellent. So I don't see any further questions. Do you, Alan, am I, just to make sure?
Nope, I don't see any more.
Okay. So thank you very much for attending. Thank you to Jeff, Ryan, Kevin, Alan, and Ravi for also providing all of your insights. If you would like to book a demo with us, we'll send you a link as well. We can take you through the system, take you through the back end, have an idea of what it all looks like and what the roles and expectations would be. We'd be delighted to share that with you. You'll be chatting with both Alan and Ravi, so they'll be part of the team that can help onboard you and also just take you through that. Thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate it. It's been a real pleasure to work with the team at Concentra, as well as with Jeff, because we feel like we are making a meaningful difference as a team to Canadians here. We feel that we're working together to provide the support and the loans that credit union members and their businesses need at this time of crisis. So thanks very much for attending. And again, we look forward to any follow-up that you may want to hear from us. Take care now.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your Friday and happy weekend all.
Bye.